Hello folks, Fuzz here, welcome back to Planet Coaster, and this is update 1.7, a brand new free update for everybody that owns the base game, and I'm going to be going through all of the features that are available in this particular update. So if you haven't checked this out, then please do stop by and let me know what you think in the comments section. If you enjoyed watching, don't forget to leave a like, and please be subscribed to the Fuzzfinger Gaming YouTube channel. Let's get started. One of the things that I love to see is when a developer continues to support its games after the release. And yes, we're getting DLC content for Planet Coaster, and that's great, but we're also getting this free content as well, which is just awesome. So we're going to be focusing on the patch today that's available to all players, regardless of whether you actually purchase the DLC or not. So we're going to start then with some of the new features, and the first thing I want to look at are the vending machines. And you can find your vending machines just with the other shop categories. So if you go into food shops, you'll find your food vending machines. There's only one at the moment. If you go to drink shops, then you can find your drinks vending machines. And there are 4 of those right here. There's the vintage popcorn machine. We can click it and see the options that we'd kind of expect to see. These do need to be inspected. They're not staffed, of course, in a normal vendor type environment. But they will require a mechanic in order to keep them operating. Have a nice green. There you go. It's pretty awesome, doesn't it? And we can change the other colours as well. Hey, it's popular as well. Get to see it in use. They've come all the way to my theme park just to use a vintage popcorn vending machine. Then they'll be going home again because there's nothing else to do here. Well, let's keep the masses happy, as they say. We'll have a look at some of these other vending machines. So we'll go to shops and facilities, drink shops, and we'll plonk these other ones down as well. So there's the Cosmic Cow milkshakes, is that, I believe? Yeah, Cosmic Cow milk, in fact. Can have your different flavours. And these, of course, are all the Planet Coaster brands that are available in the game as normal shops. There's your Gulpy. You can even, I guess, kind of market these things by having the appropriate entertainers scattered around the place. They can be like telling the guests to come and get their drinks or whatever the case may be. There's the coffee. And then finally, Pip Shot as well. If we head back over to the shops and facilities, there is this new option here called Small Attractions. If we go ahead and select that, then we have games, arcade style games. Claw Crane machine, the vintage claw crane machine, the vintage gumball machine, and the vintage Zoltan fortune machine. So hopefully a guest will come and use this thing. Maybe I'll put some rides down. There's the claw machine. Oh, sorry, that's the vintage one. There's the normal claw machine. Look at that. Gumball. And then Zoltan. So we can see it's in action here, the claw machine. And will this fella win? Will he be a lucky one for the day? No, sadly not. So what we can actually do with the machines here is actually have a little bit of interaction with them in terms of the management. So yes, we can go ahead and customise them in terms of colour, as we just saw with the vending machines. But if we head over to the items for sale, we can set how much it costs to actually play this machine. But we can also set the chance of winning. So in this case, the chance to win is 50%, and indeed the punter here has won a prize. And while we've been talking about customisation, it's worth noting that another nice little feature in the update is the fact that you can now change the colour of the staff's uniform. So for example, we've got our handyman here in his normal looking garb, but we can actually go ahead, as you can see, and make changes to how he looks with full customisation of all aspects of his particular uniform. And we can do this with most of the staff members. Here we have, is this a vendor? I don't remember putting a vendor in if it is. Oh, it's a mechanic. Okay, again, we can go ahead and make those required changes. So we can really individualise our staff. And let's see if we can do it on the ticket booth holders here. No, we can't, because they're not actually officially staff members as far as the management's concerned. They're just, you know, there as part of the aesthetic. And also you can't do this, as far as I'm aware anyway. I did try and do so and it wouldn't work on the entertainers. Let's just go ahead here and put a couple of buildings down, pre-made buildings that other people have already made. And we'll just stick a couple of random ones down. Okay, we'll put the AT-AT walker down. There. and we'll go ahead and put a downtown building in as well. Yeah, not very Star Warsy. So what we can do now is use the move tool by pressing I, or by selecting it from down here, and we can actually highlight everything now. We could do that before, okay, but now we can actually group it all together and manipulate it as we see fit. So we can save the whole lot as a single building blueprint. We can manipulate the whole lot, okay, using the advanced move tool selections, or we can just go ahead once the whole lot's selected and go ahead and move it all together using our shortcut keys and whatever else the case may be. So a great feature. Next up then, no update will be complete without a brand new ride, and 1.7 is no different. This is the Wild Mouse roller coaster type that's now been introduced into the game. Once more, part of the free update available to everybody that owns the base game. And this is a classic roller coaster type. Probably not many of you have had chance or opportunity to actually ride one of these. There's very, very few of them left in the world for various reasons. So these were made decades and decades and decades ago. But there are, I think, one or two still around perhaps, although the steel variant is much more common nowadays. This is the original wooden type of Wild Mouse. Very thrilling, although not very fast, but very thrilling, very fun and very painful. If ever you've got the opportunity to ride one, then you'll know why that is. But ultimately, in terms of the physics, there's very limited opportunity in terms of what track pieces to build with this type of roller coaster. There's actually no banking possible on corners, which is why you can't be racing around at 100 miles an hour. You'll just snap the riders' necks if you do. But it also means that the person that's riding gets the thrill of feeling like they're going to fly out of the car. The car's going to be pulled off the track by the forces because you do not have that banking. So as I say, if you guys have ridden one of these, and I have, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But great to see this in the game. This here is as well is the blueprint that you're looking at that's included for all players. I'll just see what it's called here. Mouse Maze, and it's got this custom scenery built around it. So while we're waiting for the mouse coaster to be taken up the lift hill, you can see that the seating is one abreast, but I think it's two people can sit in a kind of bobsled formation. And again, this isn't going to be your type of roller coaster that's fast and thrilling. It's not going to break any speed records, but it does provide a unique experience, and one I might add that sadly is not going to be able to be demonstrated by the game. There's nothing obviously Frontier can do to make you know how this ride feels, but it is unique, I assure you of that. Just be very careful when you're building these guys, because the fear rating will be going through the roof if you don't, you know, bring the roller coaster back up an incline before going around bends and things of that nature. This is actually quite a nice design, quite a common design as well, I think, for the Wild Mouse roller coaster. One thing perhaps it is lacking, oh maybe not, I was going to say it was a little bit of airtime. Since airtime doesn't require actual banking, you could get quite a good amount of airtime on the Wild Mouse roller coasters. So you're going to have to be inventive when it comes to your designs for these things, but I'm really excited to see what's going to appear on the Steam Workshop. I'm sure it's going to be utterly just mad designs. And the thing with this particular roller coaster as well is that it's a compact type. The track is very compact, as you can see here, so you can fit it into really tight spaces and yet still provide a great experience for your guests. Right then, so I mentioned there's another feature we can look at, and that's the brand new camera feature, or the camera effects. So again, this is available as part of the free update, and it's going to, for those of you that are familiar with, say, NVIDIA Ansel or things of that nature, this is actual in-house software that's part of Planet Coaster that's going to give you the option to just spruce up your screenshots and give them that extra effect. Okay, so as you can see, there's numerous effects here that we can do to the camera, and before we talk about the effects, I'll just talk about this option at the bottom, camera effects always on. If we select this, then any changes we make will stay on even as we just play the game normally. When this is deselected, then the changes will only appear in screenshots, and when we're using the special camera mode for riding rides or taking pictures, whatever the case may be. So we'll go ahead and leave that off. No, we'll put it on for the time being, so then we can just, you know, see all the changes in real time. And you can start by seeing there's a vignette feature, and you can change the strength and the opacity of this. So if we increase both, you can see the effect you can have with this maximum. Let's just go ahead and keep it at that level, I think, for now. Film grain adds this kind of, well, film grain effect, really, to the screen. And once again, you can change the effect of this as to how intense you want it. I think we'll keep it on about 30% for now. And the reason for that, in fact, we'll turn it off for now, because I'm going to go through the main effects here, and I don't want the film grain interfering with what they look like. So obviously you can interact with all of these together, bring them all together how you see fit in terms of these three features. And then if we go over to the effects, we've got a ton of effects here, from grayscale to pop, and we'll just go through these. Sepia, so old film style there, and some more black and white styles such as noir and the black and white blast. You've also got cyber and magenta and trip. So obviously, depending on the type of picture you're wanting to take, depending on the ride you've got that you're trying to take pictures of, will depend on the effects that you're going for. A polarized type of effect there with inversion. 70s, I actually like 70s. I think we'll use this to take a picture of this mouse coaster. I reckon these were, even though still very, very old by the 1970s, were quite a staple of roller coasters in that decade, at least compared to now. Poster, a nice vibrant set of colours for you there. Another black and white, stark, bleak, and I'll just go through all of these so you can see them. Spooky, oh, fish, or as I call it, headache inducing. The saturate, blackout, I'm not sure what these will be used for. Blackout and whiteout, since they just hide everything. But if you know what these will be used for, guys, and how these are going to help your pictures, then please do share in the comments section. I'll be interested in knowing. And night vision, frosty. Just go through them here. Red ink, which I believe just makes the reds pop out and the other colours far more washed out. That's quite a nice one. I should also point out as well, on all of these you can affect the intensity. Okay, so we'll keep it at 100% so we can see the full effect here. Another sepia, and finally jive. So we're going to go ahead, I think, and select the 70s option for the time being. And we'll add a little bit of film grain, since we wouldn't have been using digital cameras then. And I won't go insane with this, about 40%. And because we've got to keep the camera effects on there, we'll be able to go ahead and keep this in view with these filters on. Right, one thing I want to point out as well is if you just want to take screenshots, you can actually hide the interface. However, the patch notes tell you to press Control and G. But as you can see, pressing Control and G, nothing's happening. The interface is still present. So I did a bit of research for you guys, and what you have to actually do is hold the right control down at the same time as the right shift key, and then press the letter G, and that hides the interface. You can still move the camera around even when the interface is gone, but that's a new feature to the patch, being able to hide the interface like that, and then right control, right shift and G to bring it back. So let's go ahead, shall we, and get some cool pictures. For that last screenshot, I did just stick it on an old bit of paper that I found on Google, so it took about 2 minutes in Photoshop. But you do have great freedom, don't you, to actually adjust all the filters and get the pictures how you want them to look. On top of everything I've mentioned in this video, then this free update also includes a whole bunch of other stuff that I won't go into too many details on now because it's too intricate, it would take too much time. But do check out the patch notes. There's a whole load of bug fixes. There's a new set of flowers and plants that you can include as well. New sprinklers. There's new support features for your coasters if you want to use those. And there's new changes as well to the scenario editor, the video billboards and keyboard shortcuts, and just many, many other changes as well. So let me know what you think of update 1.7 down in the comments below. Apologies if I've sounded a little bit off this video. I have had a bit of a lost voice. I was shouting at the kids earlier, so it always has an effect on me, unfortunately, but what can you do? But thanks for joining me today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time where we'll be looking at the DLC content that's also been made available at the same time as this free update. So if you've been thinking about getting that update, the Vintage Collection, then do check that video out to see exactly what you will be getting. But thanks for stopping by today, guys. I'll see you next time.